What's going on, guys? I'm Bill and welcome to Bill's How To. Today I'm going to show you guys how to fix probably the most common cause of holes in the wall, and that is a doorknob. We've got here a doorknob that's gone straight through the wall. Let's get straight into it, guys. Let's do this. So if we have a close look at the damaged area, you can see here some previous patchwork that somebody's tried to do, and if we have a look inside, you can see some of the fibers there from the old mesh tape. What that tells me is this has been patched previously and it hasn't been patched correctly. What some people tend to do is take your mesh tape, put it directly over the hole, apply some compound over the top and try and patch it in that way. That's not the way that you fix it. It'll be a really weak surface, and I'll show you guys a quick example of somewhere else in this house where somebody's tried to do that. So if you have a look here in this section of the house, once again, doorknob's gone through the wall. Very, very important to make sure you've got a doorstop. This one here in this case has gone through after somebody has tried to patch it up. And this is what I mean by trying to patch it up, by applying some mesh tape directly over the hole and trying to patch that up. Now this is a really poor patch job, but at the same time, the repair itself is also no good. So I'll show you guys the absolute best, easiest way to repair this properly. So the first thing we're gonna do is measure the damaged area by taking a tape, and we're going to measure a little bit larger than the actual damaged area. So if we cut here a little bit above, a little bit below, and same thing on the sides, so we can cut it at any size as long as it's bigger than the hole. We'll take here 100 millimeters, same thing in width. So now we're going to transfer those measurements over to a scrap piece of drywall, gyprock sheet, plasterboard, sheetrock, whatever it is that you guys like to call it. It's the exact same thing, 100 millimeters either way. It doesn't have to be exact, and you'll see what I mean in a second, as long as it's bigger than the actual damaged area, so that we make sure we cover that one there off. So we'll go 100 mil up this way, 100 mil down that way, and you can see that's 100% really roughly drawn. Take a utility knife. We're going to trace over this line here, making sure to cut the paper. Snap that one, flip it over, cut the paper from the back, repeat the process down our other line, snap it, cut the paper, and now we've got our new piece. Now with the little piece that we've cut, we simply place that over the hole, making sure we're overlapping either side so that we've completely covered that hole. Simply trace around it. And now we can cut this section here out. So rather than trying to cut a piece of drywall, plasterboard, gyprock sheet to fit the actual damaged area, we're gonna go a little bit larger, and that way we can get a perfect fit every single time. So now that we've got this marked out, we need to cut that section out. There's so many different ways that you can cut it out. Using a multi-tool, you can use a little handsaw like this one here. You can even use a utility knife and simply cut around it and just pop those areas in through. So I'm gonna use a little handsaw now, make it a little bit easier. Remove that excess piece, or the piece that we've just cut, and we can now take the utility knife and just make sure we've got a really nice clean edge, clean up any of that area that might be overhanging. Get a joint knife or a scraper, and you simply want to clean off that edge. Any loose paint, take that off as well. And now we're ready to install our backing. So now for the backing, what we're using is any scrap pieces of timber, as long as they're fairly level. And what I mean by level is just simply flat. So we've got here some old trim scrap pieces, cut them down so that they're a little bit longer than the area that we're working with. And what we're going to do is install these in the back. So we're going to put a couple screws in, one on each side, and that's going to be our backing support. So once we install that new piece of drywall, gyprock, plasterboard, sheetrock, whatever it is, once we install that, it's going to sit nice and flush and smooth with the surface, plus we're going to have a nice backing here to support it. So slide that one down the bottom, slide it back up, put in a couple screws. Now when you put in your screws, you just want to make sure that they're sitting below the surface so that once we patch over the top of it, it'll be completely covered and nice and flush. Put another one down the bottom. Now once this goes in, you do have to hold the back of the timber here to make sure that it goes through and it doesn't pop anything out. Repeat the process on the other side. So now that we've got our backing in place, we've got a nice strong support here for our piece that we've cut out to sit into. So we can sit that one there in nicely. We've got a nice tight fit, and what we're going to do is put in a couple screws and fix that one there in place. So now that we've got this one here nice and secure, what we're going to do now is get our mesh tape ready. Now whether you use mesh tape or paper tape, it's up to you guys. I find mesh tape, especially for smaller jobs like this, a lot more convenient and easy to work with. So what we're going to do is use some mesh tape. So what I like to do is take my mesh tape, because it's got an adhesive on one side, I place it on the side here, run it a little bit down. You can see there it starts up a little bit higher, a little bit lower. Take my joint knife, cut that one there off, and I'll get all my pieces ready to go. So I just simply follow that all the way around. So I'll just leave these here on the side and get started on my first coat. Now when it comes time for our joint compound, what I like to do personally is fill in all my joints, then I put the mesh tape on top and then I smooth it all off. A lot of people like to put the mesh tape on and try and smear it in through between the mesh, but I prefer to fill in all my joints first. So what I'll do is just simply take a little bit of the joint compound here and then just push that all into the joints. I find that'll help in getting a nice strong surface and helping strengthen up that joint. So that's all you have to do, simply push it into the joints, and then once you're ready, you can take the tape. Now we had the mesh tape sitting on the side, line that one there up over the joint, press it down just a little bit, and now we can apply our compound over the top. Making sure to initially press that in, that'll hold your tape in place, nice and secure. Now remembering our first coat is going to be basically to fill up that joint and also cover our mesh. So it doesn't have to look perfect at the first pass. All we're focusing on here is basically covering up that little joint, covering over the mesh, making sure that's completely embedded. We'll let that one there sit until it's nice and set, and then we'll come back for our second coat. So now this is all set, what we're going to do is take some sandpaper and we're just going to take down any of the high spots. So whether you choose to do 2 or 3 coats is entirely up to you guys, and it also depends on how well you can do your second coat. What we're going to be using is a joint knife, a larger one. We've got here a 10-inch joint knife, and we're going to basically be smoothing out the material all the way across and feathering out. What I mean by feathering it out is basically bringing it from the patched area over to the existing wall with little to no transition as much as possible to have a nice smooth finish. That way, once we're finished, if you rub your hand over the surface, you won't be able to feel any transition going from the joint over to our existing wall, and at the same time, if you look at it at the side angle, you might be able to catch a little hump or lump on the side, and we want to eliminate that by bringing out our material a little bit wider than what we've got it now. So I'm going to try bring it out probably about that far out from our joint. So this is where we actually patched. I'm going to bring it out up to about here, and we're going to feather it out. So using the larger joint knife, this is the easiest way to feather it out and get everything nice and smooth. Load it all up on the wall, and you can see just how much easier that is to just spread the material around. Make sure we cover that area completely. And what I find is a little trick is to use just the tip of your finger on one end, and then as you bring it across, sweep it really fast towards the end, and that'll help you thin out the material right at the end. So if we have a close look at the area that I've just patched up there, you can see that I've feathered it out to basically nothing. So right from the existing wall over to where my patch starts, very, very fine transition. That way what's going to happen once this is set, the sanding is absolutely minimal. All we're going to do is basically take off any high spots that there might be, and we're going to have a nice perfect finish. So I'll let this one here set, and then we'll come back and sand it off. So now the second coat's completely set, we can once again take our sander, lightly sand that all off. I like to sand it in a circular motion and focus a bit on the edges, make sure we've got that completely feathered out. Make sure you clean the surface afterwards. So now that damaged area is ready to be primed and painted with 2 coats of paint. Personally, I don't like to touch up paint or paint just the damaged area. Very, very hard to blend in with the existing wall, especially when you've got old paint on the wall. What I mean by that is a lot of people, even if you've got some old paint stored away from the original paint that you used on the walls, because it's old paint on the walls and it's got scuff marks and wear marks, the paint fades over time. So that means even once you put the new coat of paint on, it's not gonna match 100%. So what I prefer to do is to paint the whole wall. That way we're gonna have a perfect finish. If we have a look side on here, you can see we've got a nice perfect flat edge and flat repair. So that's exactly what you're after, guys. Make sure it's nice and flat, otherwise even after you paint it, you'll still be able to see those edges of the paintwork. So now that we've got that out of the way, put some primer on there, 2 coats of paint, and I'll see you guys in a bit. And once the area has been painted, guys, this is the finished product. So it's extremely hard to find where the patched area is. I've painted the whole wall all the way across. And like I said, you're gonna get 100% perfect finish by doing it that way. If you wanna check your work, the best way to check it is to look side on with the wall. The reason for that is it'll catch the light and you'll be able to see just how well you've patched the area. So as we have a look down along the side of the wall here, it is 100% perfect all the way across. Even if I open up the door, you can see I've got a temporary doorstop here to make sure it doesn't happen again until they get a doorstop sorted. So even if I line up the door handle with that wall, we've got 100% perfect finish. There is no way that I can even see any little signs of a patchwork. And that is the reason why I prefer to do this method. It works 100% of the time. Very easy, straightforward. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video and you've benefited from it. You can get out there and give it a go yourself. As always, guys, like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Bill. Thanks for watching Billshowto.